Yo, what's going on, guys? In a lot of pain. Not gonna say why, but I'm gonna ignore that because I just watched the Game of Thrones season premiere and I am so hyped. I cannot describe the amount of hype I am for this season. This episode was fantastic. I just want to jump right out and say that. It was fantastic. Probably a 9 out of 10 I'd give it overall. I don't like giving episode ratings, so forget I ever said that. Fuck. I just naturally give ratings to things. But anyway, this episode was phenomenal, and I was very impressed since this is the first season in which the show has surpassed the books. The season 5 ended with the end of the newest book, Dance with Dragons, and now Winds of Winter is not out yet, so this season is all new material, just crafted by the showrunners. And other than some weird dialogue issues that I may mention throughout the review, there was some weird, unfitting dialogue and weird. But other than that, it was a phenomenal 10 out of 10. Why am I keep on giving it a rating? It's not a 10. Fuck. It was a phenomenal episode, and I was very impressed with what the showrunners could do without George R. R. Martin at the helm. I definitely have to think George R. R. Martin had some input on this, but if they say he didn't, I guess I can only say they didn't. I have a theory deep down in there they did, but who knows? We'll really see when Winds of Winter comes out to see how similar or different it is. That's what I'm looking forward to, is the comparisons. But I guess let's just get started right here. I don't remember the exact chronological order of the episode, so I'm just going to talk about what I remember. I have a little kind of list here, so I'm just going to go through some points, discuss them. It might not be in the chronological order of the episode, but yeah, I'm just going to jump right in here. So the episode starts, we see the wall. We see Jon Snow is still dead. We see that Davos had not yet figured out that Jon Snow died. Kept not hearing the wolf's name. I forgot the dire wolf's name. Barking. So he's like, "Oh, what the hell's going on?" So he goes outside and he sees Jon Snow. He flips out. All of Jon Snow's loyalists come out and they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" So they bring him back in and they block themselves. They know that it was Alistair Thorne that did this. Alistair Thorne's supporters, and they lock themselves in this room. And they're like, "Okay, we cannot let anyone in here. We cannot let anyone leave. We have to figure out what's going on. We have to figure out how to defeat them." And they suggest bringing the help of Melisandre, who's also at the wall. So that's hinting very heavily that Melisandre is going to eventually resurrect Jon Snow, which is the most popular theory as to how Jon Snow has survived last season, his death in the last season. And he has survived. It's pretty obvious. He was on set, for a reason. Why would he just be on set for just a death scene? They can use a prop or something for that. Just his dead body. He's definitely survived. He's gonna live. So, they suggest using Melisandre, and Davos actually suggests using the wildlings to get revenge. Using the wildling army who owes their lives to Jon Snow to take back the wall from Alistair Thorne and his asshole supporters. And Alistair Thorne really goes out there and he's like, "Okay, listen," because about half of the Night's Watch supports his decision and were there when he did it, and about the other half was very pissed off about it, very angry that Jon Snow did. So he goes out there and is like, "Listen, I understand that what I did was technically treacherous. However, I mean traitorous, whatever the word is. However, I did it for a reason," and gave his reasons as to why he has always supported Jon Snow, followed his orders because he was the Lord Commander, but he had to do it, and because it would save the Night's Watch. Because once Jon Snow's decisions compromised the integrity of the Night's Watch, he knew he could no longer support his Lord Commander, and he had to stage a mutiny against him. And he kind of won on the understanding of the good masses, except for the group of Jon Snow loyalists that are still bunker up in that room. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there, especially with Melisandre and everything. But moving into my next point, Cersei and Jaime. Well, Cersei is very happy to see Jaime, and then she sees something else. She sees Myrcella's tome, and she sees Jaime's face, and her smile just turns to tears, and they're just in a disaster. And we realize the prophecy that was foretold to her as a child that we've heard about from season 4 or 5, I can't remember, and throughout the books and stuff. This prophecy that she was told to her from that witch in the forest all came true, or almost all of it, and it came true. But he was like, fuck superstition, fuck that shit. We're gonna fucking take back what's ours. And he's definitely ready to kick some ass, kick some Faith Militant ass. And with the Faith Militant, not worth talking about, not much happened. But he's gonna kick some Faith Militant ass, go in there, declare war against Dorne probably, as well as kick the Faith Militant's ass, probably some other stuff. Just take back everything that they deserve, regaining the Lannisters' power under the ruse of having a Baratheon king. But so that's very interesting there. So in one of my favorite scenes of the episode, we see Sansa and Theon are still escaping. The dogs are after the Ramsay sent the dogs after them. They're running. They're trying to escape desperately. They need to get out of there, and they come across a lake. So they're faced with a choice. They either go through this freezing lake that could possibly bring them into hypothermia and kill them anyway, or they get mauled by the dogs. So Theon makes a good point. I've seen what these dogs can do. You want to die in the lake rather than the dogs. So they go in the lake. They make it out, but they're complete shock. It was they could not, they were in complete shock. They could barely function. So they had to stop moving, and eventually the dogs catch up with them, which I'm not sure how, because that doesn't make sense unless they went around the lake very quickly. It doesn't a little plot hole there, but not enough to fully taking out of the show. It was just didn't really make sense there how they made it around the lake that quickly, because the dogs catch up with them and they're about to get taken back to Winterfell when Brienne shows up, finally kicking ass, and swears her allegiance to Sansa, offering her service a second time. Finally, Sansa accepts in a formal acceptance of a knight, and now we have the dream team, Brienne and Sansa, and that's going to be badass. Brienne, Sansa, Theon, and Tommen, the meme team, the dream team of this season. We're going to see them kick some ass, hopefully. It was very promising scene. I feel like it's going to start to return the rise of Sansa, because she started off very strong, then was just completely broken down, went a little bit up, and then completely broken down much further. She's a completely broken character right now, and they're finally going to bring her back, take her out from that abyss, and make her more powerful than she ever was, and I'm really looking forward to that with Brienne on her side. So we go to the far east, and we see that Meereen was having a lot of problems. There's red priests. There was another red priest, and I feel like this red priest imagery with Tyrion is running into a bunch of red priests in the east, is to sort of paint Tyrion as an important figure in the War of the Dawn that's coming up, the war between the Great Other and the Red God. And I feel like he's an important figure in this legend, an important character in the events to come during the winter and the next long night. So it's definitely painting that Tyrion is definitely that character that's going to save the day. Not necessarily save the day, but he's going to be very important in the long run. I feel like that's the imagery that they're going for with that. But then we see huge shit happen. All of the ships that Daenerys was going to use to take Westeros were burned down by the Sons of the Harpy. They were completely destroyed, meaning that they're fucked. They're here to stay for quite a while, and they cannot, once they rescue Daenerys, it's not like, oh, safe sails to Westeros. Oh no, they're going to be there a long time, because all the ships that they gathered after all this time were destroyed. No one's leaving Meereen unless it's by foot. So there's your problem, because you can't get over bodies of water by foot. I'm in a lot of pain. Sorry. So they're fucked. But then we see Daenerys is in an even more fucked situation, because she's with members. I believe it was who filled the power vacuum after Khal Drogo was killed. Half of his men, I believe, stayed with Daenerys and were assimilated into her army, and half of his men separated and joined the rest of the Khal, joined with another Khalasar or something. And the Khal Drogo was a very powerful Khal in this scheme of the Dothraki culture. So once he was killed in season 1, there was a power vacuum that we haven't really seen in Dothraki in a very long time. So, this power, we didn't know what's going on in the past 4 seasons of the show. So this power vacuum was filled with this Khal that we meet here, who recognizes first they're all treating her like crap with some other weird, off-putting dialogue from the writers. Like, really, why was this even there? But we see that they're treating her like garbage until they realize that she was the wife of Khal Drogo. She was he was her Khaleesi. So they're like, oh shit, we're so sorry for treating you this way. And then she's like, okay, in order to repay me, take me back to Meereen. And they're like, no, you're not going back to Meereen, because it's apparently Dothraki custom or tradition, like part of Dothraki culture, that if a widowed Khaleesi whose Khal died in battle or died, period, they were taken to this building in Vaes Dothrak, which is the capital of the Dothraki, and they were taken to this building where they would relive the remainder of the days, all these widows living together, and I guess that's part of their culture, that's part of their lifestyle. Sorry, I'm just in a lot of pain, but yeah, so I guess that's part of their culture, part of their lifestyle. So she's stuck, like, she doesn't know what to do now, because they're like, you're going to take you there. But hopefully, I'm really hoping that Illyrio and Jorah make it there. But Jorah's grayscale is starting to expand. I feel like it's going to be, by the end of the show, he's going to become a grayscale, whatever monster, whatever those creatures are called, that have completely been humans that have completely been consumed by grayscale. So it's starting to expand. But that's not a big deal. They're on their way to rescue Daenerys, and I'm really hoping they actually make it before she gets taken to Vaes Dothrak, because that would be really bad. They're not going to be able to find her in there. They're going to have no idea unless she leaves clues from breadcrumbs like she did before throughout the region, the Dothraki Sea, as they follow these breadcrumbs eventually, to Vaes Dothrak in the building. But if she does that, then maybe she'll be fine. But I'm really hoping to get there before then, because that's just like another uncomfortable, unhopeful situation that I don't have to deal with, really. Cutting all the way back to Westeros, the southernmost tip of Westeros, we got Dorne. In Dorne, shit went down. Just before the king, I can't remember his name, King Dorne was about to find out that, he just read a letter explaining that, what happened to Marsala, and he realized what happened, and the second he realized what happened, Sand Snakes go out, what's her name? The leader of the Sand Snakes stabs and kills him. All the guards are killed by all the other Sand Snakes, and pretty much all of the, some comedy was included in there, but pretty much all of the Dornish royalty was killed by the Sand Snake. Now the Sand Snakes have assumed control of Dorne, and now they are no more. They're like, pretty much, they don't want Dorne being ruled by incompetence anymore, and now they have pretty much taken the power. And so, if there's a war between Dorne and the Seven Kingdoms, it's going to be much likely, because now Dorne wants to go to war wants to go to war with King's Landing, and King's Landing wants to go to war with Dorne. So they're like, hey, we both want to go to war. That's perfect. Let's do it. And then it's going to be a huge war there, and we don't know what will happen after that. So that's going to probably happen. That's going to be very interesting. It was a pretty shocking moment. The only thing I was a little disappointed in is the big guard guy was built up to be this legendary warrior throughout the last season. He was built up to be this legendary warrior that we haven't yet really seen fight. And he was killed before we can see him fight, which is very disappointing. I'm hoping we get to see him fight in the books, which would be very cool. So we have Arya in Bravo still, and she's still blind, still in training. Not much to say there. Here we go. The big what the fuck moment of the episode. This is the one that stick with you for the rest of the night, the rest of the week, until we get episode 2. Cuts to Melisandre's room. We realize she's very faithless, very lost her faith after Stannis, the person she believed to be Azor Ahai, was killed in battle against the Boltons. We know that she was actually killed after the battle by Brienne, but he was defeated in battle, so he's no longer alive, a candidate for Azor Ahai. So she's lost her faith in the Red God, doesn't know what to do, very, very depressed, very sad, and she needs to do a little bit of, she needs to remind herself of her faith. So what she does is she takes off her necklace. Now, I better go back, and we don't see what she looks like here. We see the mirror that she's looking in. And once she takes off her necklace, we don't see her in the mirror anymore. We see Needledick. This was a mind-blowing moment. I was like, what the fuck? Needledick. Is Melisandre, or was Melisandre somewhere else, and this is a fake Melisandre who's actually Needledick? Or is this some timeline shit? Like, last season we saw Needledick go into the time portal. So, does this mean that this is a different Needledick from a different... Like, I really don't know. We have no idea what this means. But all we do know now is that Needledick is at the wall, not still in Dorne. So last we saw him, he was in Dorne, where he went through the time portal after he escaped from the Sand Snakes. But, man, great ending to a great episode. I'll tell you that. We have no idea what's going to happen. Hopefully we see more Needledick in this season. I mean, if we keep on seeing Melisandre, I assume that means we're going to see more Needledick. But who knows. Anyway, great episode. We got some updates from great characters. Daenerys, Martells, Jon Snow, all these different... Sansa. Sansa is probably my favorite part of the episode. That's probably my favorite scene. But anyway, like, we got... And Needledick, obviously, the big major finale. So, long story short, that's pretty much the episode. Great episode. Really looking forward to what this season has to offer. Very impressed with what the showrunners have done in the absence of George R. R. Martin's source material. So they're pretty much going their own way from here. And I'm going to honestly say the show's probably going to be very good. The books might even be better. Like, I'm looking forward to it, what's coming next. Can't wait for Winds of Winter, so we could do like a comparison, like which one's better, this or this. But who knows. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. That's my first Game of Thrones review. See you guys next week with next Game of Thrones review.